I guess the thing that stands out to me most about how I got to where I am today is how every little piece in my life was shaped and pointing towards this in the end, but I didn't see it when I was going through the journey. Helping my parents and taking care of them, I had no idea I would be working with seniors sometime in the future. Adopting my daughter, it taught me so many lessons. I saw lessons my children learned through it. It shaped our family, it shaped me, and it shaped me for what I had in the future. So I see every little thing I went through in my life, caring for my mother, caring for my mother-in-law and my dad, and taking care of my kids. It brought me to this point in my life. When people reach out to me these days, they're usually going through a crisis, and maybe they've had a medical event that has caused their mother or their father to have to go into assisted living immediately. That's the crisis situation where they've got to do something with their house right away. They've got to make decisions. It could be that the kids, the adult children, live in other cities and they have a very limited amount of time to take care of it. They've got to make lots of decisions. That's why I encourage people to start downsizing now while you're feeling good and getting rid of things and maybe moving to a smaller place so you don't have this crisis situation where you have so many decisions to make at a critical time and don't have time to think about it. What people really need in this situation is someone who understands, someone who's walked it before, someone who's experienced the emotions that they're feeling right now. I've been there. I've cared for my parents. When I downsized, I went through the emotional steps it took to get rid of things, to get rid of my mother's baby grand piano, because I knew I wouldn't have room for it in another place. And that had really strong emotional attachments. All the collections that I had to get rid of them and decide what was important and what was more important, the storage space that I was allowing these things to take in my house, or me having the freedom of not having to take care of them anymore. I've been in the investment world for about 10 years now, and I know the hard sell on people in vulnerable situations, like in a crisis. Maybe they're going through foreclosure or other things, and I deal with people that are going through medical emergencies or situations where their parent needs to move into assisted living. I know how touchy those things are, and I know they can't make quick decisions. I've been around so many people that will push the subject and try to get them to sign on the dotted line at that time, that day. Sometimes it takes a while to process. I know when I was downsizing and the thought of moving to a smaller house was not something I wanted to even entertain. I knew it was something that happened far off, but I didn't want to deal with it. As I slowly became attracted and drawn to the senior market, I saw some real problems in that area that were not being met. I saw seniors that were not prepared for the transition from independent living to assisted living. I saw adult children that didn't know what their parents' wishes were. Maybe their parents were going into showing early signs of dementia, and they didn't know where to turn and where their parents' important information was or anything. And so I was able to work with a friend, and he helped me compile a book and a workbook called Guiding Them Home. You ask about my next project. Well, I would say my next project is get back to my original idea. So The Daughters of Naomi was put in my mind, and that's what I'm working on next, is to get that book published. When someone finds himself in this situation, there's lots of questions going on in your mind. And I guess the things that I would want them to know is that, number one, you don't have to go through this alone. There's people out there to guide seniors in finding a place to live, and people that really care and will help you find the right fit for your parent. There's many different solutions. Not everyone fits into the same one. The other thing I would suggest is start working on it now before the crisis hits. But you're not alone. There are people to help.